What is hatching, Togi Peeps? OldManTup coming at you today with our Week 3 matchup of GBA Season 9 against Old OA Dragon and the New York Empoleon. So, as you can see, what we got at team matchup, we're going to be leading with our Scarf Shaman because it outpaces everything on his team. We're going to get an early look at what his switch-in will be to it, and if it's at Zapdos, we might be able to get a quick early Toxic off on it, which would be great. But as you can see, he brought Tapu Lele, Dialga, Donphan, Mega Beedrill, Superior, and Zapdos. Not anything terribly surprising there. If you watched the team builder yesterday, that was all mentioned in our prep. So if you didn't check that out, go check it out now. It'll let you know exactly what we brought to the match. And yeah, another thing you can go watch that we uploaded yesterday was our Raise the Jolly Roger video. Since we won last week, we promised every time we won this season, we would go out to a public setting, run around with our Pittsburgh Pirates flag, and just act the fool. So go check that out if you hadn't. It was good fun, even with my inexperienced camera person who giggled the whole time. But anyways, like I said, we're leading with Scarf Shaman. He's going to lead with his Tapu Lele. Expecting maybe he could get a huge early hit off on something. But that's good for us, because no matter what, we're going to get a Toxic off on something, unless he switches in Dialga to this. And that's super good. He doesn't want to get flinched right off the bat, so he's going to be swapping out real early, and we're going to see what his switch into this. So he takes out Tapu Lele, and we're going to see Cormag come in, and that is his Zapdos. And we see the Cherish Ball, which lets us know that it is the static ability, so we have to keep that in mind. We are going to get a Toxic off on it, which is just excellent, because I don't think he has a Cleric on the team this week. Vaporeon didn't come, I think that's his Heal Beller. But we're going to swap out here as we are locked into Toxic. I don't think he is going to swap out a Hard Switch, which will give us Toxic on something else. He does use U-Turn, which lets us know he probably isn't carrying the Volt Turn, or Volt Switch. He has a U-Turn. But we're going to stay on a Mega Beedrill because we know we can take a hit and it do less than 50%, so we'll be able to set up rocks for a relative soft hit. As funny as that is, coming from a adaptability boosted U-turn from a Mega Beedrill, we take that fairly well. Zapdos just going to come right back out here. I assume that means this is his defogger, and he's just going to try and defog these rocks away. But every turn he stays in longer than he has to, that's more poison damage we are going to accrue on him because of the Toxic that we got on it first turn. So that first turn prediction paying off in, what was I trying to think of there? I don't know, it's paying off. Paid in spades. Yes, I think that's what I was going for. He's going to defog. We are just going to go for the Body Slam. Get some more damage on this thing. The closer we get it to 50%, the earlier we can bring in Diggersby and just drop a Frustration on its face. Because we 50% everything outside of Donphan on his team after Rocks damage, which is just bueno. But ultimately at that point, we were just getting free leftover recovery. He is going to U-turn out this turn. He's going to bring out his Dialga, and if I'm not mistaken, we just reset our rocks here, and that is exactly what we are going to do. Now, we can't stay in against this Dialga. We could go for the T-Wave to see what can happen. I believe that is what we do. Yes, indeed. And he sets up Substitute. I'm just like, every week I've faced something with Substitute, and it just makes me want to cry. But anyways, I'm really hoping this is not the big boomstick set that has all the crazy overpowered moves, because that's a set that we've had a lot of trouble with in playtesting. But we are going to come back out into Caliente, thinking possible flash cannon or something of that nature could be coming, but he just dropped the Aura Sphere, and that does right around 33%. So we know we can easily take another, probably even a Dragon Pulse, based off of how much damage that does. We're just going to go for the Sacred Fire to break the substitute, breaks it, does about 50% damage to this Dialga, if the calcs were correct. And he just Aura Spheres again. I was really expecting a Dragon Pulse or something to come out there. And that one does a huge chunk of damage to us, taking us down to about 25%, or well below that even. Woof, we might be at Stealth Rock's range at this point. He's going to switch out here, bring in the Donphan, which is going to be the best thing on his team to take a Sacred Fire. And I see how much damage this does, and I'm just like, holy cow, that was a critical hit, and we burn. And that is really going to be detrimental to the game plan of GOLDOA, because he can't stay in and comfortably set up his rocks and spin now. This is going to put him to only being able to do one of the two things, and as this is his rocker, well, seeing how Zapdos is his defogger, he probably wasn't going to spin anyways. But anyways, yeah. He is just going to get up his Stealth Rocks, but he will not be able to take another Sacred Fire. He is going to go for the Ice Shard. I thought about going for the Flame Charge at this point to get the +1 speed, but I wasn't sure if it would even matter. I don't know. At this point, I wasn't 100% certain if his Tapu Lele was Scarf based off his team. I kind of figured it was, and I didn't think it would matter regardless, because he would come in and outspeed us because we're adamant, and he's probably timid. So he's just going to go for a Psychic. I don't want to worry about switching in and out to save this for a sack at this point, because it's going to die to Stealth Rock damage, and I want to preserve as much of the rest of the team as possible. Mega Scizor hadn't been Mega Evolved at this point, so I didn't want to take a harder hit than I needed to. But coming in free is going to be able to get us to be able to Mega Evolve, and we are just going to drop a Toxic in the event he was going to stay in and try and hit us. We weren't 100% certain at this point that he was guaranteed Scarf yet. So I thought maybe he would try and switch out, and at that range I could take an HP Fire from a non-Specs or Life Orb variant of Tapu Lele. So that was good. And we're going to stay in here. I'm 99% certain he was going to Roost at this point, because he wants to get as much health back on this Zapdos as possible, which is why I just stay in and U-turn. It's going to give us some momentum in the event he did just want to switch out at that point or not. And it's going to keep him after leftovers and the toxic damage below 50%, so we know for a fact that a Frustration will wreck this thing's face. Frustration's going to go off here. We're going to see that is a crit. I don't believe that mattered in the slightest. Like I said, calcs before the game after Stealth Rock damage said that we could two-shot anything, and I'm pretty sure that was well within that range. So we're going to switch Chunk back out here. We're going to go into Miltank, Strawberry, and we're going to see he has another Substitute Mon. I'm just like, fantastic. But I'm fairly certain that this thing with Substitute is not going to be carrying a wide array of moves that are going to hurt us unless it's carrying something like Toxic. And in the next couple turns, he does not go for that, so I don't believe he was carrying it. He's going to be rocking the Hidden Power, and based off of team composition, I'm going to have to believe that's Hidden Power Fire, and think that he either had Leech Seed as one of his other moves, or possibly Dragon Pulse. I don't know. I'm going to guess between Leaf Storm and the Hidden Power Fire, that was all he needed to hit around the array of what we have on our team. We are just going to continue to see the Hidden Power come out here, which we did confirm after the match was Hidden Power Fire. And we're just going to be able to sit in front of this thing. Granted, it's going to take 2 hits every time to break his Substitute, but he isn't doing enough damage after leftovers to us to the point we have to worry about it. And we're going to outlive these HP Fires. So this is unfortunately a very boring point of the match because it's just a little bit of back and forth between Miltank and this Superior, but we won't see him at this point go for a Leaf Storm, which I'm having to believe he was carrying, because he did not want to activate the Milk Drink, which would help us one-shot his substitutes. But Goldoa, being the good player he is, I'm just going to have to believe that us hard switching into this, he took as believing we were Sap Sipper ability. We do go for the Thunder Wave here in the event. I figured he would try and switch out at that point. He either hard read me or just thought I might make a weird play, possibly switch out at that point, over predicting. And he makes the best play and goes for the substitute. Again, it will ultimately, we will beat him at this current strategy. Unless he super crits us a couple of times, like back to back, we are always going to be recovering more health than he is taking off with 2 hidden powers. And with 2 body slams, he isn't recovering enough with the leftovers to negate what he's losing with the substitutes. So while this would be a long, stally war of attrition, this is something we would ultimately win. So I do believe he will set up one more substitute here. And I'm pretty sure this is a substitute we crit. And just one shot, which will stop the current setup of the substitutes. And this will be the turn he switches out after leftovers recovery. Still keeping himself above 50%, which is really good for him. But unfortunately, it's leaving us at a point where we can sit in very well against anything on his team. He's going to switch out here. And he's going to go into his Beedrill, which I thought was really weird, because he's going to take rocks damage, and he's going to take a body slam. Now, had we gone for the possible T-Wave that point, it would have put his Beedrill behind the 8-ball, would have made it so he might not have been able to get off what I'm assuming his goal was, and knock off our leftovers here. Because after the T-Wave, we will be faster. And had he got paralyzed, he would have pretty much just thrown away his Beedrill. But he had to know at that point we would have just been body slamming. But at that range, body slam just did a huge amount of damage. But he did manage to take off our leftovers, so we're not getting any free recovery anymore, which is unfortunate, but what can you do? Now, pretty sure he's just going to set up a substitute here. I don't think he's going to Aura Sphere right out the gate. And that is indeed what he does. He's going to set up a substitute here. Now, I should have ran a calc on this before I made this move. Again, I still thought he was sitting on a Dragon Pulse and would have a stab attack. So I don't want to go for the close combat and lower my stats and just get one shot by a Dragon Pulse, which I think I was within range of if I remember the calcs I was using based off the damage he was putting out on other things. So I am just going to go for the all-out pummeling Z move from close combat here to take out the substitute. Like I said, the goal was to not take a -1 special defense Dragon Pulse, but he doesn't use it. He's going to whip out an Ice Beam, and at that range with that much damage, we would have easily lived a -1 Ice Beam, and instead of close combat just barely not getting a kill here, we would have had an all-out pummeling, and I fully believe at that range we would have killed it with that. So, unfortunate turn of events, loses our Toshington. Again, the thought process there was if I had gotten to -1 at that point, a stab Dragon Pulse would have taken us out. But it does leave us at the range that Chunk could come in and just drop an Earthquake on anything that wants to come in and kill. He does leave his Dialga out, and it is going to take this Earthquake. It's going to be a critical hit, but I don't think that really mattered. So that is, if I'm not mistaken, the 2 kills that I predicted that Chunk would get this week. And that is awesome. So Chunk coming out, putting in the work, taking out 1/3 of the enemy team, and that is just bueno. So we're going to switch out Mega Scizor here. I really don't think at this point he's going to get too cheeky with the predictions and go for something like an HP Fire. We do take a Psychic, and at that range we'll be able to take another one. Now here we're just going to go for a Toxic. I didn't want to get too cheeky and try to roost right in the face of this thing in the event he was to get like special defense drop. Granted, it would have kept us at a range we could have switched out and come back in, but I didn't want to get too crazy. We do go for a Toxic because it's going to put any of his 2 things left on a timer, and that was the goal here. Now I want to switch out because I don't want to take an HP Fire to the face. He predicts that he's going to switch out, go right back into his Tapu Lele, and I'm going to switch out, and I go out into Strawberry. Now at this range, I know that Strawberry cannot take a Psychic Surge boosted Psychic. Now, I'm going to play around here, and I don't play around the way I should. Right here, I should have went back out into Chunk. Chunk is just fodder at this point, and I should have let Chunk go down to that Psychic. I should have brought Mega Scizor back out directly after that and just roosted up to stall out the Psychic Surge. That is a bad play on my part and a mistake, which makes my endgame a little bit harder to manage than it should have been. But I'm bringing Scarfzilla back out here because I really don't think he's going to leave this in and risk getting flinched. So I am just going to go for the Air Slash here. Air Slash is going to easily take out this Serperior. Serperior is going to go down, and Shaman Skyform is going to get a kill. Now, I ran a bunch of calcs right here at this very point in time before this comeback out, and I took Psychic Surge off. So, specifically, my calc with Miltank. And why is that going to matter? It'll explain to you in the next couple of turns why that matters. The reason it matters is because I took Psychic Surge off before he switched this back in, and I forgot to put it back into the calc before I checked damage. So without the Psychic Surge, after rocks, at the range my Miltank is, it can take 1 Psychic from this Tapu Lele. So this is why, right off the bat, I switch out into my Chunk. I just want to fodder it so I can switch Miltank in, absorb the damage, get a Body Slam off to put this thing within 100% range that I can kill it with an Air Slash. Where it's sitting at right now, I'm not 100% exactly where it is. It looks like it's somewhere between 50 and 60% to me. And like I said, at this point, I was fully thinking in my mind that I would be able to... I'm going to pause it here because I need to explain a few things. That I would be able to live that Psychic. Like I said, I clicked off the Psychic Surge when it faded, when it was out previously. And I didn't reconfigure it back into the calc before I did Miltank's damage. So that's my fault. And I didn't realize it until I was like, oh, switch out Miltank, there it is. So had I had that back in, I could have preserved myself a little bit of differential, but that's why you're going to think, Tup, that was really weird playing around the end game. That was a miscalculation on my part as far as the damage calc went, and it was unfortunate. So now we're at a 1v1, and looking at the health that Tapu Lele had, like I said, to me, it looked like it was somewhere right around 55 to 60%, and I wasn't 100% certain. So I still have the calc pulled up as to what it was, and a Seed Flare does 57 to 68%. I added a little bit more bulk into there just to account for he wouldn't need super ultra speed to outspeed a lot of the things on my team as far as Tapu Lele goes with a base 95 speed. So I thought maybe he would have some bulk invested, so I was trying to be a little bit more cautious. And in my caution, I had it to the point where Seed Flare, like I said, a very generous estimate on him being somewhat bulky, put my Seed Flare at about a 50% chance to kill, but if I could get a 60% chance to kill with an Air Slash, well, to flinch with an Air Slash, I could win that way. So did I want to take the odds that a 50% Seed Flare would kill, or that 60% roll where it's possible that Air Slash could flinch, but will guarantee, as long as they both hit, kill it? And I heard this little voice whisper in the back of my head,
use the hacks, Tup.
and I just thought to myself, you know what? Let's roll the dice. After last week, go big or go home. We're not going to go for the Seed Flare, and we're going to see if this Air Slash can kill. Will the technically in our favor roll pay off? We're going to go for the Air Slash. It's gonna flinch, and whoo, a big sigh of relief.
Remember, the hacks will be with you, always.
But anyways, we're gonna win versus Old OA, and we're gonna go to 2-1. That game we won with a +1 differential, Scarf Shaman being the only thing that hung around. Holy guacamole, guys. Go check out Goldoa. He's a really cool dude. He's super awesome. He has recorded all of my matches for me while I'm at it. Thanks to him, and thanks to who gen my team for me this week. I mean, legit bread. I want to say it was Empoleon, if that's how it's pronounced. So thank you, both you guys, for that. Want to thank Austin for helping me out with the graphics, because I have old people issues with that, and he does conversion of files for me, and he's awesome dude, even though he didn't pick me in the pick'ems. Anyways, but that's it, guys. I'm OldManTup. Thank you for watching. As always, all the pertinent links will be in the description down below. If you want my social media, I'm at OldManTup everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, even though I don't stream very much. Like I said, go check out Goldoa. I cannot lie, I was very, very fortunate in that match. The crit Sacred Fire burn on Donphan was a huge swing of momentum in my favor, and just all around, the Air Slash flinch at the end, while it shouldn't have mattered, because I talked to Goldoa afterwards, and we figured out exactly how much hit points he had, and he was at exactly 51%, and the set he had, Seed Flare, minimum damage was 57%, so it would have been a guaranteed kill regardless of the fact. But that was when I clicked Air Slash, and it was a 60% roll, which luckily landed in our favor. But like I said, go check out Goldoa. He is an awesome guy, and it's nice to have people like him in the league. But anyways, guys, I've been OldManTup. You've been awesome, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.